To see what we have to say about it,
Lennon,
to hear from your side a little bit. What
you
do
just
you got,
got
Magic?
trolled that hard.
Yeah, I know it was. Yes, I realized that it's not a real dog. It's a person.
It's my favorite Alistar player. Come on.
But the fact that we got him to call him a dog on live broadcast.
Your son, you deserve better. I love you.
I hope your son appreciates that.
Oh, I'm sure he does. I'm sure he does.
I would love to get a little interview from your son after that one.
I cannot believe how long you elongated that when I knew it. Yeah, it was just...
I knew the whole time. It was just hilarious because I want people to know that your son deserves that shout out, and he is pretty cute. Just saying. That was a heck of an end to the first series of the day. Now we do have to get into Immortals Academy versus Cloud9 Academy, and the fact is, Cloud9 Academy trying to bounce back a little bit from a rough start with the subs, everything kind of compiling itself together into the first week, Cubby.
I mean, look, like, all these teams have to deal with VS issues in different ways, but with that said, for the side of C9, I do want to focus still on the two members that we know are going to be on this team for the long haul, Sheetan and Copy. And I think that they've had a tough start to the split too. Obviously, like when you have a team coming late, there is, no scrims going on. It is hard, but still I think Sheetan and Copy, their plays had a little bit to be desired in the early season. And going up against Chad and Pretty, that's a tough task. And I want to see if they're up to the challenge, if Sheetan can take down his roommate in Chad, and we can try and see them really step up to the play that we really think these guys are capable of.
Well, and also just to give a little bit of credit over to Cloud9 with all the roster difficulties they're having right now, they had the same thing in spring. They started off their first 6 games 1-5. It was not pretty. And then when they got the full roster, that's when they started turning things around. You look at how they were able to finish off as the 2nd seed. So obviously when they get the full team, it's going to be far more impressive. I expect great things out of them all. But like Cubby was saying, I'm mostly looking at Sheetan and Copy, because Copy is someone who I've always just been excited about, and I'm just waiting for his turn into LCS.
I mean, we've been excited about this player for a reason, right? I mean, he was a runner-up in our most valuable prospect last split as well. And we have a little bit of a video from last split to show off this mid lane carry from Cloud9 Academy. So let's go ahead and roll that one. Another honorable mention for the Academy 2022 Spring Split Most Valuable Prospect Award is the mid laner for Cloud9 Academy, Copy. Copy has been a standout all season long. He has been a rock for his team. You want pop-offs? You got it. You want team fights? You got it. He will separate you from your team just as he separates you from your life, all while being able to break your ankles. If you want a stellar standout, well, don't just take it from me.
I just want to be more of that player in the spotlight and being able to take resources and carry a game instead of being like sort of the backline player. I just want fans to know that they can count on me carrying our game for C9.
You can always count on him. They're going to need to count on Copy here going into this split, and especially as a rock in the mid lane, Cubby.
And, this duo, I am really excited about. And I got to say, like, we have seen some games from them that have been tough. It hasn't been, the subs all the time. I think Alorum was the only reason that they were in the second game they played yesterday.
That Urgot was good.
Yeah, with the Eclipse build, Alorum was playing for lane and doing pretty well. So I want to see Copy and Sheetan, continue to grow, continue to find their way to get on the same page. I think that both these players, the ceilings they have, we really think they could be powerful players, not only in Academy, but potentially at the next level. And I want to see them really start to step up to that mantle and kind of earn the praises that we're singing of them and what they could be. They got to start showing that.
They absolutely do. And on the other side, it's no slouches over in Immortals Academy roster, because you have to deal with some new faces, but some of the most dominant faces that we saw from last split as well, Magical.
Well, not even just the dominant faces that we saw from last year, because obviously, across the board, most of it is the same. Arrow did play briefly in the LCS to sub in for Wild Turtle, but I got to look at Pretty. This is a guy we've seen in Academy for some time, and just how well he has been playing in the past, but this meta really does suit him. He is so good on these control mages, the artillery mages, his ability to move around the map and be where the team needs him to as well. This is his time to really prove that he is the top mid laner.
Exactly. And if you're going to have a moment to step up, it is against Cloud9 Academy copy, I feel like. And something that we got to see them go at each other so many times last split, but something that still remains important is the fact that they will dictate a lot of what we see early on in this game, I feel like, Cubby.
And it's interesting. I like how, Magical, you brought up the patch. I talked to Pretty about that. Like, what are your thoughts on the patch? And that's one thing that he cited. He said, laning deprioritized just because everyone has more health, more armor, more MR, so you don't get punished as hard. But he said team fights are really fun. And team fights, for me, that's always been the area that Pretty has really excelled in. I think that this is a good meta for Pretty. Whenever Pretty's able to play Enablers plus Orianna, I feel like that's a meta where we're going to see Pretty perform at even higher levels than what we're used to seeing Pretty do. And so far, he's been fantastic at the start of this split. Also, helping enable Chad, as Chad has really just become a masochist in the jungle. I think 3 out of the 4 games I've seen from Chad, he started on the enemy buff level 1. So a lot of eyes have to be on the level 1s that IMT throws at C9, and hopefully C9, the squad that has come together earlier in the week, is ready for the onslaught that IMT has been throwing at people very early in their games.
Yeah, and kind of like shouting myself out again, in the lab. I had Pretty on that for a reason, because I thought that this was going to be a meta where he'd have really good insights, and we expect, he would like it. It's more team fight, more control mage centered. And the big thing that he said is, like, it doesn't feel different to him because he played that style already. He likes that. He likes to be in the midst of things, to be the brawler, to be the person that's kind of leading the charge or setting up team for success. And it works well with someone like Chad, who is someone I'm hyped up in the jungle, and I think this is his time to shine as well, because he can play like a monkey. He can play aggressively. He can do whatever he wants because Pretty's there to back him up.
Chad's had some insane openers in these games. And to be fair, it's panned out really well for Immortals. And if you don't play the game level 1, then Chad will beat you. That is part of the game. But I want to see what ends up happening, especially in the early stages of the game, because Pretty and Chad, once they get a lead, they've really been driving it home. And I think that the rest of Immortals has played off that really well. We saw Arrow get incredibly fed on Callista the other day. I think Vital has had a decent debut. Is team fighting rather well. That's been nice to see. So I'm really hoping that, Immortals, some of the good play we've seen from them early in the season, can continue today against C9, and hoping we see C9 step up a bit.
We'll have to see if they do step up. I want to see if we get any of that level 1 shenaniganery, Magical, or if we finally get the Aurelion Soul they've been trying to get Pretty to play. We will have to see as Champion Select is ready to go. So let's send it on our way.
Let's get ready for the second series of the day. Immortals Academy, they have looked really hot so far. Even if they were 1-1 yesterday, they even kind of said that they were having fun. They were doing whatever they wanted. And Chad, I mean, he was jumping in aggressively, but I do think they also did get punished by 100 Thieves. I think 100 Thieves were able to find windows that maybe more teams like Cloud9 can try to exploit. Try to see when Chad goes for those level 1s that you had called out, Cubby. If instead they can get cheated on a champion that can actually do something against him.
I mean, Immortals can say that, like that is the case. I still think that 100 Thieves did play some of those fights really well, even if Immortals felt like they were the ones, going too deep or pushing too far. But overall, I want to focus on the other 3 games, because the other 3 games for Immortals have been really good. And a lot of it has been dictated off of Chad getting early leads and him and Pretty playing together, going to affect sides like that.
He's only played 2 champions so far, and it's Rengar Wukong. Of not even like what we expect being like the Talia or Lilia or be it Graves. It's just Wukong Rengar.
I mean, Rengar is a bit of a surprise. I don't think we've seen one other Rengar, or haven't seen much Rengar yet. It's a bit surprising to me. I will say another surprise early on. We see a Wukong being picked over Senna. Senna been really powerful on this patch. Wukong, of course, big priority. It gives you some flexibility on blue side, even though we're primarily seeing that in the jungle. But it looks like on the side of C9.
Oh, but Coglulu!
Yeah, it's okay. Coglulu set up.
I didn't even see that. I was paying attention to the jungles. I was looking at the Kindred Graves, which is typical against Sheeden. Looking at Talia, Lilia, Gwen, like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And then Coglulu slips through the cracks.
Ooh, okay, but C9.
Ezreal. Ooh.
I like this. Okay, so I like Coglulu. I think that these first three picks for Immortals, really strong because it makes it so difficult for Viego looking to kind of jump in to you. You got to be very careful about where you pick your spots as Sheeden. But I also like the adaptation from C9 because Kog'Maw Lulu, it can get outranged by Ezreal Senna. You eat a lot of harass early. When you do not have W, you cannot approach the wave as the Kog'Maw. The issue is that if it gets ahead at all, you have no way to stop it. So this is a very risky, very volatile selection for C9, but I will say the Tom Kench, I favor the Coglulu side of that, so I like the fact they're opting out of it. This is a very volatile, very aggressive way to opt out of it. So I'm wondering how much focus C9 is able to put on this bot lane. I want to see enablers picked mid, ways to, I think Gangplank, Alorum is not a Gangplank player, but, you know, ways to affect the bot lane for the side of C9, because you need to make sure the Senna Ezreal can get going, get out of lane, and do not fall vulnerable to any ganks from Immortals, because what they've been doing so well is attacking those side lanes.
Right, and trying to see if they can punish them as much as possible, especially with the Wukong versus Viego matchup. It is one of those things that we've seen typically drafted into a Wukong early, but I think that if we have Chad on this Wukong, he, again, goes for those early plays right out of the gates, tries to see if he can get priority over whoever his opponent is without any care in the world.
If you don't have a ward down level 1, if IMT notices that at all, Chad will punish. And I mean, that is something that he has used to great advantage early in the split.
Yo, Sedge top?
Okay, yeah, it's Sedge top for Alorum. Interesting pick, I gotta say. Gangplank's on the board. Vital, his blind has been, mostly we're seeing the Aatrox from him. Known for his Aatrox, Yona, and the ladder. I think Vital's been staying in his comfort zone early. Something understandable as someone that's debuting as a rookie and someone that we didn't have as high expectations for as someone, you know, like Soul. But I think Vital's been team fighting really well. And this option in Olaf, a little bit more aggressive option, but something that does play very well into the Sejuani. So I like this from Vital. We'll see if Vital can utilize this to get ahead heavily in lane.
Yeah, and honestly, this is just an interesting composition coming in from the side of TS. From my mind's still on the last series, from the side of Immortals, because Immortals, they have. That's the thing. I was actually
Ori for copy. Yeah.
Okay, that would be interesting, but I kind of want to bring the conversation back to Immortals because it feels like they have really built themselves around the identity of this Coglulu being the main factor, and having things like Olaf and Wukong kind of create space. Same with the Sleepy Trouble bubbles out of Zoe.
Will be the Orianna. The zone control against Kog'Maw Zoe is really, really good. So I like this Orianna pick for copy. We'll return to your point, though, about the Immortals team comp. It feels like the top side of the map is more of a bridge to get the Coglulu online. So Olaf, Wukong, Zoe, you know, you're going to have some push, some priority, especially early on, and can utilize that to kind of weather the storm or get one side of the map ahead, where we expect to see Coglulu get behind in this lane. And I'm really curious to see how Immortals plays around this, because, again, if Ezreal Senna gets behind at all, you can farm this lane. They are so squishy. Even after the durability patch, Kog'Maw just gets to walk up, W, you have no CC to stop it. The only way that you can limit this Kog'Maw is with range and harass. So I think we really have to focus on this bot side. Can C9 assist this bot lane to get ahead in any way? And then, you know, can Wixie, can Trevor use this to keep that Coglulu down and snowball the game from there?
Well, the thing is, they don't really have much of a choice, do they? They don't really have much of a choice to do so. They have to play around that. But I hear we are ready for this game already. So why don't we just jump right into it? Get ready for our second series of the day, Cubby. It's been week 1, and it's been one hell of a week to start off Academy, as Immortals Academy face off against Cloud9 Academy in this round of best of 2s, with everyone from Immortals Academy doing what I like best, which is grouping up and looking for a fight.
Yeah, they see the Sejuani with an Ignite, no Flash, so I think they're going to just throw an Olaf axe in here. Sejuani will resist the slow with a passive at first, but we'll see from there.
There's the axe, the Undertow connecting. Looking for some more resets, picking it up. There it is, getting more damage on Alorum. But that is also the thing with the Sejuani. Kind of difficult to kill unless you actually can find her out of position at first.
I like the look from Immortals, but...
Oh, it's a good attempt. It's a good attempt.
Yeah, they at least get some vision down. So again, ways for Chad to get some knowledge early about where Sheedan's starting. Again, little fun fact behind the scenes for you guys. Chad, Sheedan, Kenvi all live together. So these guys are roommates. So we lost one roommate to the LCS, deservedly so. But we have another roommate coming in to compete here in Academy. So these guys, very friendly with each other, know each other very well. And I know each of them trying to get the best of one another as we are going to start off this game. It looks like Chad going for that standard start, actually. Starting on his own buff, something that is been a rarity for Chad.
I feel like Arrow and Joey, their skins are like the setup of a joke. What happens when a blue bug and a clownfish walk into a bar?
I don't know.
I don't know.
You have the punchline for this? We'll work on it throughout the game. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Maybe it's they kill Trevor. That's because right now Trevor's been taking a beating.
Yeah. I feel like there's a Finding Nemo joke in here somewhere. As it looks like we have Marlon and Dory here.
Twitch chat, you know what to do. Twitch chat, make up a joke. That's your job now.
All right. Hopefully that ends up, they come up with something good. Do want to focus, though, on these junglers as it is mirrored clears going on. Both junglers racing early to make sure that they are able to get to the other side of the map as that's
we got this skirmishing for skirmishing, and Arrow falls, so Wix is Ezreal level 1. He's a tick into Ignite, and Joey will get it back with the help of that Kog'Maw passive. Trevor, he looked like he was in danger, but he also knows that he's got the range over Joey.
We talked about how volatile this lane could be early. Props to the Immortals bot lane. They burned heal before, or very early on to make sure they got level 2. So I think that's actually what enabled them to somewhat contest and at least trade out 1-for-1. But I think that wave being even, honestly, it's... I don't really know who has an advantage. Like, Wixie got the kill. It's, just volatile lane being played very aggressively.
I have to give it to Wixie because he gets the first blood gold from this, and Arrow doesn't get the kill credit at all. It goes over to Joey. Granted, it has to because you don't want to have Joey fall in this fight and be even worse. But you get more of that gold built up into the Ezreal, who goes back, gets its tier, comes back into lane, and it's now free to just free fire and work on completing that objective of the tier.
Trevor Sheedan will be spotted on this ward. Is now spotted by Pretty. Chad, though... as we return from replay, Chad is going to get double crabs on Sheedan. So, really good start here for this Wukong. As after this, we'll be able to reset, clear out those level 1 bot lane camps. But overall, Chad getting the best of the roommate early on.
Well, kind of, but he didn't have the exact setup we've seen of him in the past couple games. He hasn't gotten the level 1 invades.
True, but, Chad's got to show they can play standard as well. I love the Rengar starting out to be buffs. I think that's fun. And also, everything's part of the game. You got to play the game from level 1. If you don't do that, Chad will punish you. So
it's a really fun champion to play jungle and go for a level 1 fight?
Olaf?
No, Teemo.
Teemo? Oh, yeah. You masochist. That is...
Oh, yeah, I'm evil. I'm evil.
That is terrible. Okay.
You just wait by the red buff, you get the invisibility, they start hitting the red buff, and you smite it away, and then you blind them and kill them.
You explained that in way too much detail. That concerns me, and it concerns me for the state of the ladder. Yeah.
Look, I've played everything I talk about. I have played at some point, Covey. I am mad, and I do what I say. I have convictions for my insanity.
I appreciate at least the scientist tries experiments on his own before he pushes it on others, right? That's ethical. That's good ethics there.
Oh, wait, hold on. Because now we got a lot of damage onto Trevor. Well, seems that maybe I was wrong, that Wixie would get the advantage in the spot lane. You talked about how if they didn't get a snowball lead into Arrow and Joey, that eventually this Kog'Maw is going to do a lot of damage.
I like the Halo Blades adaptation from Arrow. Because, again, you just pop that W instantly. 3 autos, a lot of damage going down onto Trevor and Wixie as they are. I would say being even in this lane, not ideal. I would say that Arrow going to be feeling good as this game goes on. If he's able to continue at this pace. But overall, early on, I do want to keep our eyes moving forward on where Chad ends up going. Because Chad, again, clearing top to bottom. We do have Dragon on the table. Arrow and Joey are out of pots, but once you wrap up that second clear of the top side, you can shift over to bot, and then Dragon becomes an option for the side of Immortals.
I think a lot of that will play into how this mid lane goes as well, between Pretty and Copy. We're kind of highlighting it before, and right now, it's not necessarily a lane that we'd expect to have a lot of skirmishing back and forth between each other, but it's about getting wave management control over the other so you can then help out your jungle. Chad right now hasn't gotten that from the bot side, so he's in a little bit of a difficult spot with Wixie and Trevor already being quick on the roam, so they can then turn that and make sure they get control of mid lane.
This bot wave will bounce back as Arrow has reset and has the Berserker Greaves, so those W's able to proc even more auto attacks with the W being empowered for Arrow. And, Kog'Maw for him, keep in mind, Arrow, one of the most storied players that we have in Academy.
Yep.
And this Kog'Maw does have historical significance for Arrow. I mean, even going back to his time with KT over in LCK, was mostly known for the skill shot champions, the Jhin, the Varus, but Kog'Maw, always something that Arrow's been able to pull out when necessary, when required. And good to see him utilizing it in this meta all these years later in Academy.
Doing well so far. Berserker Greaves, as you had called out, already built up and has now gotten control back from the bot lane so that they can help Chad out, get that first dragon of the game that you had also called out, Cubby. While Cloud9 still struggling a bit to get a foothold onto this game.
And, I mean, for C9, they're just under siege top, and then the draft, they're supposed to have their strength bottom, but Arrow Joey doing a decent job of playing out this lane, but now that's actually a big chunk going over onto Arrow. So he's working through those rejuve pots, but he's going to be forced off the wave until he gets his W back.
A bit too aggressive there from Arrow and Joey, thinking that Wixie was by himself with Trevor just being in the wings. As we shift our attention top lane to the new top laner, the rookie here in Vital, surviving the gank pretty easily.
Nice sidestep on the ultimate there from Sejuani between that and the new shield on Olaf's W. We'll be able to even catch the wave in the end. So, Vital, I'd say overall, mission accomplished. Doing okay up there, as we'll burn a couple of the summoner spells that he has, but hey, taking the wave, that's what you want. That's the true price.
The true price to pay. You gotta live. You still have a CS lead over Alorum. Not with the ult for a while either, so shouldn't be too threatened in this top lane. Vital can probably just hang around, be cautious and confident that he's not gonna receive a game from Cheetah anytime soon, unless they want to make a play around Rift Herald.
Yeah, I mean, and for Vital, again, we saw the other rookie top laner that we have in Soul. Hoon's not quite over yet for Academy, but we've already seen Hoon play at a higher level of play. For Vital and Soul, these are, true two promotions from the NA amateur system. Vital, not even really competing on any notable amateur teams yet in his career, but I will say for Vital, laning phase has been a bit of a struggle. I think that showed when it was his Aatrox into Tenacity Fiora. Kind of welcomed into Academy, baptized by fire, which one of the stronger top laners we have in the league. But his team fighting has been really good. And I think that laning is something that's a little bit more teachable. Team fighting is not, so still good signs for Vital. So we're going to turn our attention to this Rift Herald. Sheed and Chad, Smite Bite. Oh, 2 HP. Oh, no.
Who got it? That's going to be the real question.
C9 did.
Was it C9? Yeah, it was. Oh, man. A bit too early
2
from
HP.
Chad. Exactly. That's why I wasn't sure, because I wasn't sure if maybe there was like some burn damage that secured it for Chad, but yeah, I think it's the 2 HP that ends up benefiting Cloud9.
Bit of a bummer there. I like the attempt from Chad to try and force it, and hey, at least props to IMT. That's a Rift Herald that's going to be thrown to the wayside, as now bot lane Arrow. This could be bad. W's pops.
They are just going for the fight here. They're getting a lot of damage there from Arrow, Trevor, Wixie, both low on mana and health.
And this lane only gets worse, especially if Arrow, if you want to take a pit stop for a Vamp Scepter. We've seen a lot of Blade of the Ruin King rush on the Kog'Maw. If you haven't seen Kog'Maw in the new patch, no traded.
Auto ult. That's a lot of damage. Getting that heal too. Sets up Chad.
So, again, Kog'Maw in the new patch, on hit Kog'Maw. So it's the Blade of the Ruin King, the Rage Blade, the Runan's Hurricane, and then the Titanic Hydra even. That just makes you this big Juggermaw that no team can really take out. C9 will not have the damage to do so later. So the fact that Arrow is having a pretty comfortable lane phase, only down 10 to an Ezreal center lane, they will outscale into Oblivion. So really like the fact that Arrow Joey, even after that level 1 death going over, or I should say trade of kills, they've recovered really nicely in this laning phase.
Right, and I was even going to say, it's no longer like they're behind. They've been able to get some recalls off, got the Noon Quiver built up. Even if they're a little bit behind in the CS, it feels like this Cog Lulu has control of bot lane.
And if Cog Lulu has control now, we already have one dragon over on the side of IMT. It really feels like C9 will struggle to pressure the second one, given that Zoe still has shove, Cog Lulu staying ahead. So IMT getting those first 2 dragons and then having this big Cog Lulu in their back pocket later. C9, we're going to have to see where they decide to really choose their fights, because I think that's where C9's kind of stuck at the moment.
They are. They're really stuck trying to find that foothold that we were talking about before. Where do they make a play? What do they do to get themselves out of this rut?
I just have to go to Sheeden. Again, Sheeden. Usually we see our Viegos go for Divine Sunder or Trinity Force. Sheeden. Another Viega game, another crypt build. Looking at the Kraken Slayer by the looks of things this game. So Sheeden is able to, proc that passive often, get that damage down. I believe Kraken Slayer into Blade of the Ruin King is his preferred build. We'll see if they can use that to cash in as Chad. Get chunked out a little bit by the Senna, but still, control goes to IMT.
And Pretty looks for a bit of damage. Wow!
Yeah, that's a lot of damage.
He's only level 10. He doesn't have a completed item yet.
That's Zoe. Haha.
Oh, where's the copy pasta when you need it?
Yeah, that's about as cringe as I'll get today. So
yeah,
enjoy that one, Mad Magical. That was for you.
I was about to say, don't worry, I'll make up for the cringe later.
Yeah.
Because right now we got IMT on top of this dragon. Smite goes over to Sheeden 2 times. Sheeden has been able to secure a monster objective away from Chad with a shockwave on the back half. But that's going to be a nice kill. Doubled up by Trevor. The turnaround from Cloud9, not only getting the dragon, but getting 2 kills for merely the one of their jungler.
And I like the engage, the idea from Chad and Joey, but it's too much. Copy rotates, lands a big shockwave, and that's what enables C9 to take the dragon. I'd say trade the fight out 1 for 1, get bot lane priority. Really good stuff from C9. Honestly, one of the better plays we've seen from them over the last couple days. It's been a struggle for this team that's come together last second of the season, but a good sign that some of these games, this team's growing together a little bit, trying their best while the main members are trying to get here, and honestly, really good play coming out from Sheeden and Copy, the 2 members that are the mainstays.
Copy had flash, so he gets over the wall. Sleepy Trouble Bubble barely, just a little bit short with the blast cone benefiting that Copy. He's out. It's good stuff seeing that from our MVP runner-up in Copy. Being able to survive a play like that. It looked pretty dire, too, with 3 people wrapping around here. But let's look back at this dragon fight, because they already seal away the dragon, which is impressive, but the fight afterwards is even more so.
I think Joey just overcommits trying to support Chad. Chad and Joey are just too deep, and big shockwave from Copy. And this is what we wanted to see from C9, even with the sub squad in. Sheeden and Copy have had a couple games where they really haven't played that well. Them working together to turn that play in C9's favor. That's what we want to see out of this squad. Not only to give themselves the best chance of winning games now, but also moving forward, as Sheeden really does adapt to playing as a professional.
Was also a great shockwave from Copy.
Yeah, it's
catching them overextendment. Exactly, and that's what I got to applaud from them. This is what we want to see from Cloud9. When you have a sub-roster like this, you want to see the core units, the ones that are remaining with the team, performing to the level that you'd expect, and they're doing so in these early stages of the game.
Meanwhile, you can see Alorum on this Sejuani. We haven't talked about it a ton, but another champion that is unique to Alorum and his play style. The idea, of course, that plus Viego, a lot of kill pressure in that lane, but also Sejuani, a good chunk of percent health damage on the W is Trevor.
True Shot Barrage, the Trevor takes a chunk of damage there from Arrow.
One of the good things about the Kog'Maw in this matchup, if you connect with those ultimates from the Kog'Maw, you are granted vision. That does let you attack through the Senna Shroud. So one of the ways that Senna can play defense disabled by Arrow if you are able to connect with those R's, and so far Arrow's been doing a really nice job of making sure those hit and making sure that he's making the most out of every time he pops his W.
That 10 CS lead that Wixie's had over Arrow from the early stages of the game has remained at 10. Hasn't grown, hasn't gotten any advantage that you'd expect from the long range on the side of Cloud9, because Arrow can just do stuff like this. He can clear out the wave effectively, and even look to see if he wants to recall here with no True Shot Barrage, but they do have at least the ult from Senna. Try to see if they can cancel back. There's a lot of members, and this is that call. This is the shot calling from Cloud9, forcing the flash and heal from Arrow. Now they can escort these minions and look to topple a turret.
And this is what we wanted to see from C9 at the start of the game. Again, they picked this very volatile, very aggressive bot lane that can try and set the Kog'Maw behind. Copy Sheeden rotating down, using some of that priority to support them. really good stuff from C9, but Wixie Trevor, they might have overstayed.
Chad, I love that. Using the decoy to make sure he gets right on top of Trevor. Even if it's Joeying the enemy support, at least make sure that they get the one and they secure the turret to live.
Right idea from C9, just a bit of an overstay by their bot lane as Chad Pretty not letting that happen for free. Arrow now rotates mid, gets to pick up this wave for free, and IMT fight back a little bit. Only a 1k gold deficit again at this time. I feel like IMT's comp with this Cog Lulu gets really strong throughout the game. There will be too tanky, too much health, too much shielding to deal with later on for C9. So I think the fact that, you know, they're only down 1k gold, very positive.
But I do like this play from Sheedan. He's already swapped out Alorum, sending him bot, so you know you're going to have an advantage on the top side of the map, at least immediately. You got 4 members nearby. You try to see if you can get this Rift Herald, and it even works out better because he didn't know that Chad was all the way bot lane clearing out Krugs.
Good response from Sheedan, who Sheedan, really strong game from him so far. 1 out the 2 smite fights. Has gotten a positive impact on the bot lane and the top side. Sheedan,
I
again,
like it.
Yeah, I mean, a player that we're really excited about. Like, it's about time we're seeing Sheedan in Academy, pretty much. So, I think Sheedan... There's a reason we're excited about this guy. I know it's not been the start to C9 once so far, but good to see Sheedan starting to put together some sounder performances. Bad.
Getting at least something that he can lord over him, securing and stealing away a dragon and a Rift Herald right from underneath them, even looking for that attempt to play on a Vital. They got a lot of damage. He can just pop down the Rift Herald, and there's no answer. Chad right now is trying to clear out his jungle, looking for those plays, and while he is 0-2 and 1, he's not been able to have that impact that we normally have seen from Chad this season, this split so far.
We will see as Vital trying to take out this Rift Herald before it gets a second crash, but will be denied. C9 able to get that in.
Nice. Good secondary crash escorted by Wixie and Trevor. Making sure that they're getting these leads. It's incremental, it's small, but every single one of them counts. You want to make sure that you're best set up for when some of these skirmishes happen. You have great synergy in Alorum and Copy when they utilize not just the ult from Alorum, but then when Alorum goes in, you have a shockwave afterwards.
Interestingly enough, Arrow, I did tease the Kog'Maw build. You know, we've seen a lot of Bork into Rage Blade.
Yeah, that's actually interesting.
I can see why Gale Force. You can use it to sidestep a Sejuani ult, an Orianna ult. I can see some Viego ult for that matter. I can see some value here, but okay. I don't know the damage profile of crit Kog'Maw compared to unhit Kog'Maw. I assume the next item now would be a Phantom Dancer, maybe, or do we see Rage Blade still? Maybe it delays the full-on hit build. That's a little bit different adaptation coming out from Arrow. It doesn't look like it will be Rage Blade second.
Yeah,
so.
Okay. I was wondering if it was just go for that as you were talking about the reposition tool, since there is a lot to kind of lock down a Kog'Maw, and he is very immobile. Maybe that's the reasoning for it.
I mean, Gale Force has a lot of value this game, but this does really delay the spike of on-hit Kog'Maw, because usually you have that Rage Blade second, so you're benefiting from the Bork, you know, passive, being able to proc that more times with the Rage Blade. Gale Force, of course, don't get anything like that, so we'll say Arrow setting himself behind a little bit with the build, but a lot of defense, and again, I think the game plan here for IMT is to get to the point where C9 does not have the damage to kill them. Once they get to that point, they will pump out massive amounts of damage with this Kog'Maw, and they will be favored.
They're definitely playing around this bottom half of the map as well, keeping Chad nearby in the vicinity so they can take the tier 1, and honestly, I think that they should just make sure that they are always in a position to build around Arrow, build around this Kog'Maw, and use him as your tool for the win.
Yeah, the thing is, though, is that, you know, all this time, love and care being put in the Kog'Maw, it's been all C9 in this mid game. I mean, C9's rotating really well. They've taken an inner turret. They're going to take mid-outer now for themselves. They've amassed a 3k gold lead on IMT, so IMT at this point, yes, we like their late game, but C9 are going to have about a 5-10 minute window here where I think they're going to be the stronger team composition, and IMT has to be really careful about how they play around them.
The reason I kind of want to see them continue to play against IMT, I was figuring it out because I was about to say this and I got thrown off by the icon being wrong in the top left there for the dragon. It's a Hex Tech Rift. This is going to be a Hex Tech Soul.
Yeah, it's big.
And Exactly. That being on Arrow is amazing. But right here, you can see that they can trade really well onto Joey, but now he's popped the W. He Gale forced in for that, nearly takes out Trevor.
Once you see that that flux in from Ezreal, I mean, that is the level that Arrow can step up, being empowered by this Lulu, the damage that this Kog'Maw can put out.
But he Gale forced forward, man.
Yeah, it is too much for C9 to deal with. So, again, this is the Kog'Maw that we will keep our eyes on and will be scary in the later stages of the game. I really feel like C9, though, they have to continue to poke out the Kog, dodge out the poke of Zoe, and try to amass... I mean, honestly, at this point, the Dragon doesn't even matter. It is all about the Baron for C9. With his Kraken Slayer, Viego, with Ezreal on the 2-item spike, there is an opportunity for them to try and melt this Baron. And I think that is really their best chance to try and force the issue and give themselves a good chance to win this game.
You see that they understand that. They are all positioned in a way they could have threatened the Baron, but because Immortals answered that, kept themselves in the vicinity, and have that TP from Vital, they decided to peel off of it. Instead, looking to see if they can shove in the minion waves, look to see if they can push in some of the vision into IMT's jungle, and then maybe just peel for that Baron once you see that the rest of Immortals have gone for the Dragon.
Uh-oh, Trevor. That's not a good spot to be in.
Trevor, you done so well beforehand. Just get caught out for free.
Expensive mistake there for C9 as Trevor, again, Senna on the support, this new meta. To squish your supports, you have to be careful about when you step up, where you ward. And that's one where no backup for Trevor. Ends up getting spotted by Chad, and he gets caught. And this will enable IMT to look, as that's a good bubble.
Sleepy Travel Bubble connects on to Sheedan as well. It forces him away, so you get a little bit of the clear from Wixie, but that's a lot of damage onto that tier 1 that is a big objective in the eyes of Immortals.
That was a really nasty sidestep, actually, from Wixie. That did save a big chunk of damage going down.
Hey, I'm a fan of Wixie, man. Yeah. Like, it's a sub-roster, but there's also something with sub-rosters when you're a temp sub. You're trying to make a statement. You're trying to prove that you deserve to be back in Academy or to be picked up in Trevor's case. And here, I'm just looking to see how they can play around with the rest of Cloud9.
Something that C9's done pretty well. That bot wave will be something that IMT has to deal with, but at the moment, C9 losing a big wave in their respective bot lane. As oh boy, that's a big chain.
Pretty. He got caught out there. That was a great chain with the last embrace coming in. Now Arrow trying to save the game with Vital going to the back line. He's got a lot of damage with the Ragnarok. He can't be stopped, but can he with the kill? He definitely can. Chad had to use Cyclone to make sure they can get out of dodge, but they've got to dodge everything else from a copy and from a Cloud9 who are now booking it for the Baron.
Good stuff from C9. Chad is still up, but he's still on health, no ultimate. I want C9 to force this. Again, I feel like they have to force the issue. This is where their comp is going to be stronger, where that Kog'Maw isn't pumping out filthy amounts of damage. I love the fact that C9 is forcing an IMT.
IMT, go for the Dragon. You can't win this. Yeah. Just take the objective. Get yourself within the soul point. Unless you can get a miracle steal with Arrow,
it's gone.
That's just not happening. There's no way in hell you're going to get that away from Cheetah. Not after he's stolen 2 objectives in this one game.
IMT, it feels like when they don't have this full early priority, they're getting a little bit lost on the Rift. And now, I mean, there is an empowered TP up for Alorum. So if C9 wanted to force the issue, they do have Hextech gates. They can get back here rather quickly. Looks like they will give this over to the side of Immortals with his soul point, but still C9 doing exactly what they need to do to get back in this game, give themselves the win conditions that they need to hit in the earlier stages. That's a great Baron take and a great fight from them.
Let's take a look at this replay, because it is pretty getting hit by the chains there.
Yeah.
Trevor makes this play worth it.
So, I mean, when you portal jump on Zoe, that's a telegraphed ability. You know where Zoe's going to land. Trevor, a wonderful route, catches out the Zoe. A big mistake from Pretty. As, again, C9, they take a turret. They're going to keep on snowballing. This is a really good play from C9. Transitioning their power from mid into the wave prepped by Alorum bot. And this will be 2 inner turrets falling in favor of C9.
As C9 continue to press the attack, continue to push in minions and reinforcements into the base of Immortals. Immortals have to just make sure they're not falling apart. They have to make sure that everything's at least standing as strong as possible. They lose inhibitors. That can make it very difficult, especially when we look towards the soul that's going to be up in 4 minutes.
Love C9's positioning here, too, below the minion wave, so that they don't get hit by any trouble bubbles or paddle stars from Pretty, who is north of the C9 team. As you can see, Arrow trying to step up, trying to deal with this cannon minion, but again, Poke from Ezreal, poke from Senna, and the zone control now from Copy. Since everyone's grouped, it's tough to deal with.
There's going to be another wave of minions pouring in.
We'll get them south of the wave. Well. Really good.
Oh, and Joey gets picked off by Alorum.
Another good Sejuani ult from Alorum as that Glacial Prison finds another. An IMT knowing that they aren't strong enough to fight, knowing that they need more time to get online. They step back, and that's the first inhibitor taken. C9, this sub-squad, this has hands down been their best game. It's been the first game, really, where it looks like Sheeted and Coffee are playing as a unit, where the rest of the team playing as a unit, making team calls, and they're looking to really slow down Immortals in their tracks.
And big props to Alorum here in the top lane, because you talked about that second game yesterday where he played Urgot, went Eclipse, did really well. He was really the ringleader of that squad for Cloud9. Unfortunately, the rest of it didn't work out, so they found a loss. But here, he has been leading the charge with those Glacial Prisons connecting. Having 2 in a row that were so impactful so they can get massive things such as getting the Baron or they're getting that inhibitor, have now set up Cloud9 to have this massive 7,500 gold lead.
And look at the inventories. Copy, Wixie. That's 3 items on each champion. That is, again, IMT cannot deal with this at the moment. The only chance that IMT really has is to try and
they gotta weather the storm.
They gotta maybe get that Hextech Soul, but that's gonna take a lot of time. And if they aren't careful about a fight around Hextech Soul, that bot lane's open. So C9 has a path to win this game now.
So now I'm looking at how Immortals, we like their draft coming into this. We like the identity they had to build around Arrow as well. But it seems like Cloud9 have been able to find an answer to it. Ways to make sure that he's not actually getting nearly the damage that he needs to in order to carry this team.
That's a good start, though, as Wixie very low. Vital.
But he should be alive. It's Copy who has to go golden. They continue a fight. A little bit surprised by this from Immortals because they get a huge knockup from Chad. Right in the midst of everybody. They take down Wixie. They look for Sheehan, and they've got him. Only one's left to the top lane of support, and the support just cannot survive. Even if Alorum is taking himself, he'll fall into the hands of Arrow.
And it all falls apart for C9 on that push as much needed gold funneled into the carries of IMT. And it all starts from Pretty. He pretty much one-shot Wixie out of that fight, Mad Vegetable. And from there, Arrow was not pressured, able to walk up without any resistance for the side of C9 because Wixie's out of the fight, Copy's out of the fight, thanks to Vital as well. Just a terrible start for C9.
That Wixie has to play so far back. He's not able to really do anything. Look at how long he's standing around, not shooting out Mystic shots.
And this doesn't fit the identity of C9 either. They do not want to walk into the Wukong. They do not want to, walk forward and take a straight up 5v5. They need to 5v5 with advantages at the start. They need to connect with the Mystic shots from Ezreal, dodge out on the poke from Zoe, use the sustain of Senna. If it's a straight up 5v5 like that where your fed marksman doesn't even get to auto, doesn't even get to shoot abilities, you cannot win that fight.
Well, and now the gold lead has been cut nearly in half. Instead of the 7,500 that they had just a few minutes ago, it's 4,500, and the soul will be up soon.
And I mean, look at the items too. Pretty almost has death cap now.
Nice
Arrow
dodge.
Flashes. Pretty lands a Drowsy.
Good dodge on the side, Pretty. Telegraph takes a little bit of damage for his troubles, but was able to get a lot to stick onto Sheehan. All the while, Vital has just been getting minions and the wave state and bot lane working out in their favor because they know this is just going to be a long dance by Cloud9.
And I like what Trevor's doing here, just marking Vital, making sure they at least can spot the Olaf if he's going to funnel through bot. As this is a big dragon again, a Hextech Soul for Immortals would be massive. Copy.
And it could be redemption for the side of Chad as well if he's able to make sure they secure it with the smite. Sheehan's nearby. He goes in.
Oh, they got it.
This time, it is Chad who secures the Hex.
Oh, no, Copy.
Ripping apart the members of Cloud9 who try to run, but they're slowed each and every time by Arrow. Double kill for Chad. Wixie will be the next to fall. It is a killing spree for Arrow, and only one remaining soul will remain for Cloud9.
And it's just that one mistake from C9. They were taking all the steps necessary to shut down Immortals, prevent this Kog'Maw from ever coming online. And it's one combo from Pretty that brings the game back in their favor. Now it is a Hextech Soul Kog'Maw that is fed. C9 have been outscaled. They've been outdamaged. Arrow.
Sheehan's trying, but he just can't.
Yeah, it's too much.
Honestly, Arrow might have even been able to solo out Cheatin at this point just because how strong that Kog'Maw is. While they might get this Baron, keep in mind, they might lose a Nexus turret for it.
No, the inhibitor is coming up soon, and Vital is alive to deal with it. So Nexus turret lives. Chad going to live, secure this.
Oh, a true shot barrage. Does it steal it? Does it steal it? It does, Wixie!
My goodness. What? Like, what? Are you kidding me?
Look, man, it's a day. It's a day. That is a day and a half. We've had a lot of steals. We've had a lot of craziness. But there, Wixie, like Pretty had done for Immortals, Wixie keeps this game alive, and the hopes for Cloud9 are not yet dashed.
So, that throws a wrench into things.
No, that threw a bunch of light into things.
Oh my god. All right, well.
We don't have Heimerdinger here.
Well, so, again, actually, huge credit goes over to Trevor. That combo connecting, it took out Chad. And we don't see the HP on that Baron, but man, that's what opens things up for True Shot Barrage to come in.
It was down to like 30. It was really low.
Wow, okay, well done from Trevor. Trades his life to take out the jungler. Opens things up for Wixie. And that's huge. I mean, that does give C9 some saving grace, but again, if they don't win, if they don't do anything with this Baron buff, I think it's a doomsday scenario still. It is a Hextech Soul, Lulu-empowered Kog'Maw. And not to mention a Zoe with Hextech Soul. Like, it is so difficult for C9 to play this out.
And Immortals have a composition that can delay. They can wait out this push coming in from the bot lane to try to secure that inhibitor that had respawned before, with the fact that they can benefit from that Hextech Soul that you talked about.
Oh, man. Well, C9, I want to see how hard they push with this Baron, as they have it for another minute and change. They need to take this inhibitor. They need to get something to give them some power on this map. And they need to be careful about the Zoe poke, too, because, again, Pretty, love how they're playing south of the minions, making sure the Trouble Bubble doesn't connect. It's Pretty.
Doing their best.
Oh,
no.
Trouble
Bubble on the Wixie. The right target each time comes in from Pretty, so they can try to follow up Chad with Vital in the backline, chasing down Wixie, finds the kill. He will revive in just
he goes golden.
They've got him going golden, and he's got the health to recover afterwards.
That was a huge stopwatch from Vital because it prevented a reset from Sheehan to try and pick up the Olaf as Vital. Team fighting really well in this game on the Olaf, just splitting up the front line and the back line of C9 as he TPs mid. There's nothing stopping this Olaf as he is ripping through those turrets with those axes as IMT looking to take as much as they can off the back half of that play.
Should be able to get two turrets off that for Vital, just pushing down mid so fast that nobody from Cloud9 can answer. And they've got about 15 seconds until they have Sheehan and Wixie both spawned back up.
Oh, man. This game's so tough because, again, I know C9, it's been such a hard situation for them. 3 subs last second. They're going to have a chance to flip this Elder, but it really felt like this was the angle where C9 was going to pick up that win. It was get something out of this week. And it was just one mistake as Wixie's gotten caught by a couple of Trouble Bubbles. And, I mean, that's all that IMT has needed. As now, again, Arrow has that Gale Force Kog'Maw, and this time, now he has the on-hit items online. The Bork, the Hurricane's here. He's pretty tanky. He's got Joey in his back pocket. We're a minute 20 out from Elder Dragon. Again, I don't know how C9 comes back from this. I mean, even, like, the saving grace for them, it's been Aloran with these Glacial Prisons. Mikhail's finished for Joey. So it feels like Joey's the only member that can catch us now. Copy, he's caught, he's one-shot.
You disrespected the Cog, but he's level 16, bro. You just can't disrespect him like that. They can easily get out Arrow, and he's got his kill. They've got the kitten caboodle while they chase down the rest of Cloud9 and keep them away from this Elder pit.
Copy does have Empowered TP and will spawn before Elder is up, but Trevor, he's got to sidestep everything. Pretty has flash. Look at Pretty.
It's a Hextech Soul. They are too slow. How the hell are they supposed to escape Cubby?
They don't. Immortals, this might be the death push as C9, an aggressive bot lane draft, the poke into the Call of Lulu. And the play from Sheeta and the Copy honestly kept Immortals down, kept them out of this game for a while, but it was only one mistake. One sleepy Trouble Bubble landing. That was all IMT needed to scale into this game and take game 1.
getting the Hexexel as well to make sure that they've got everything unlocked. The game is still afoot, Cubby. 10 seconds until the Elder spawns.
I mean, it's the party portal just to the Elder Dragon, right?
Or is it a bait?
Oh, they're camping it.
Oh, it's a bait.
Love this.
Oh, it's a bait. Please, let's see.
And they have the Cog Lulu on the objectives. So that's really all they need to melt it.
It's Alorum, who they actually aggress onto, but with the Alorum taken pretty low, they already got, like you said, they already had Arrow and Joey on top of the Elder. There's no, no, not again.
Please no, please
not
no,
again.
Please no, please
not
no.
again.
Okay. Oh god. Meanwhile, Copy had no sums, so he's dead.
Yeah, Copy just got deleted. We were a little preoccupied with hoping another steal was not about to take place and prolong this game any further.
It's been a game, man, magical.
That it has. And it's almost over, too, Copy. It's almost over. With an Elder Dragon, with the Hexexel, with the Dirt already taken here in mid lane and off of the Nexus, they've got everything. There's no way Immortals can give this one over to Cloud9. They're godlike here inside of the base. It is 37 minutes in, and Immortals will claim victory over Cloud9.
How many kills for Arrow? All right, we're done. Arrow.
The reason I ended it is I was just not going to fall around with their shenaniganeries. I figured they were going to try to pad the KDs. I'm like, you know what, screw it. I'm just ending.
Hey, 6-1-12 for Arrow at the end. I mean, really good Kog'Maw game. Again, I feel like the strat from C9, you have subs. I'm down to try something. I think the Ezreal Senna, it was interesting, but they didn't get leads early enough. It wasn't until Sheet and Copy were able to sync up, connect with that big shockwave in the blue side jungle of C9. And to be fair, once they got a small lead, C9 turned it into a lot. The macro from them that game, they made sure they were rotating, taking multiple turrets on Immortals, making it really difficult for Immortals to get on the map, but just one mistake. Once that Kog'Maw got to 2-3 items, it was game. Arrow said game over. And that, that was it.
It was the 1v9 Kog'Maw game. He got to the point where you just can't touch him, and he has a Lulu on his team. Yeah. It was well played from Immortals, even if it was quite a chaotic one, with steals and weird plays and good sleepy trouble bubbles.
Yeah,
we still got
Zoe.
A victory. Oh, I mean, pretty. At the end game there, his Zoe was just hitting every single trouble bubble. That, I think, is another reason why Immortals were able to claim this game one. But Cubby, for now, we're going to toss a break. When we come back, we will be back with our host, Mazel, for a nice little fun halftime show. So make sure you stay tuned.